against a really good-looking lie, and most people are happier to look at that than the truth. And I think that that's what that we're about. You know, we're about speaking truth, and we're about trying to help people understand things so that they can make a wise choice. You know, we're tired of some of the rhetoric, the narrative. Lack of treatment really irritates me. We're not getting people treated, and they're pushing something that people should have a choice. Instead, they're believing a lie, and they're not knowing the truth. And I think, you know, this whole thing of agencies and government changing definitions of words to carry the lie out. And also then just the whole idea of the cheating and what it comes down to is, you know what, we have to, each of us have to make a choice. And that's why we decided to do this group. So I just hope that we can be informative. Again, that's what this is about. We want to give information so that you can make a choice. And then we want to stand for the ability for you to make your own choice about this. And once you have all the information. So there's so many things. So just to give you a quick logistics of what tonight can look like. There's microphones at the front here, and we are going to go through topics. And if something that you want to ask is not in a topic, it's fine. It doesn't matter. We want to keep this relatively casual, but we want to have topics because we respect your time. We want to, you know, keep going through and be able to hit a lot of information. And so I can tell you that if we don't know something, we're just going to tell you we don't know. You know, we are none of us are respiratory, you know, physicians or pulmonologists, and you know, we're just people that are trying to do what's right and lead people. So keep that in mind. So that being said, before we get started, and you can start deciding if you have a question. The first topic is going to be basically on the jab. So if you have questions about the vaccine or the jab or this ridiculous experimental injection, please let us know. But before we start, everybody's going to just introduce themselves so you know who these people are.
I'm Chris Ewing, senior pastor at County Line Church, and I guess, sure.
Whatever you want to tell.
I guess I'm here to answer any questions about exemptions from a religious standpoint.
My name is David Powell. I'm a medical oncologist here in Lima since 2001. I just have some, obviously, medical expertise when it comes to immunology, but so I can answer some questions hopefully about that topic.
Hi, I'm Michelle Simons. I'm a chiropractor in Findlay, Ohio, and I help people with their health and wellness goals. So I like to focus on a lot of prevention. What are ways we can keep ourselves healthy and keep ourselves from getting to the place where we, you know, might need extra care. So that's my focus.
Hi, I'm Rob Neidig. I'm a physician in town. I've studied and read on this topic for at least the past year or more, and just feel strongly that the narrative that is coming forth from the mainstream and the professionals, for whatever reason, is extremely incorrect and is extremely dangerous. So I'm here to hopefully provide accurate medical information.
Hi, my name is Heather Davis. I'm a practicing registered nurse in the Lima community for over 23 years. I'm here to give the nurse's perspective.
Okay, we're gonna start out with just talking about the jab. So does anybody have any questions or thoughts that they would like to know more about? Or yeah, can you step up to the microphone so other people can also hear?
Hi, I'm Ella Blight. Live free or die, right? So I've dedicated my life in engineering. This is a blessing, and I just came on to this group, so I'm so excited. I have a great passion. I have a two-part question. Like I said, my history is in engineering, environmental health, and safety. So as you know, the documents are now being transferred for OSHA. So I work right beside OSHA, EPA, and other governmental bodies. My first question is this. From the, I guess, immune system standpoint, I think everybody's focusing on antibodies from those that have recovered from it. I have recovered from COVID, thank God. So I didn't get the jab. Okay. From my history of learning in science, I'm not a physician in this. What about the T cells? I don't see a lot of focus on the T cells, the memory, how the immune system actually works, and I think that's a facade that a lot of people try to understand. From a second standpoint question, I believe in Christ, and I believe in the scriptures. I'm not a perfect person, but I try, right? So I want to know more how I can get the religious exemption if I come across at work, because I will quit my job. But I want the exemption. So if you can answer first, T-cell memory, and also religious exemption. Thank you.
Okay, well, with regards to the immune system, when you're exposed to any kind of pathogen, virus, bacterium whatsoever, your body's innate immune system will develop antibodies against that, unless you have an immunocompromised state, like chemotherapy or if you're born that way. But for the most part, most of you in this room are probably immunocompetent, so you have an immune system that will be able to attack when it sees it a second time. So the whole point of having immunity would be that an antibody is developed against the pathogen that's seen and develops memory cells. There are T killer cells and memory cells. The memory cells will, of course, see the second time and attack faster. So when you have a true vaccine, such as your measles, mumps, rubella, then you don't get measles, mumps, and rubella because you have an immune attack that's been generated by a vaccine. The memory cells that you have, if you've had COVID and you have antibodies, I really don't see why you would need a vaccine if your immune system already has an antibody against that virus. I don't know how long the antibodies last. When this first came out, they said, oh, it's only going to last 3 months. Well, I've had patients, too, that have had COVID, and it's been more than 3 months, and I get them tested for an antibody. And if they have an antibody, that means they're immune to the virus. So I don't know how many people have been readmitted to the hospital who have actually had COVID, and they readmitted to the hospital for COVID again. I never hear that statistic. So I don't know if people who have had the virus themselves and then recovered from it and now have antibodies really need to be vaccinated. Nobody talks about people who have innate immunity, essentially. So that's one of the things. Everybody just has to have a blanket vaccine. But I'm not so sure that's a great idea. Because why are you vaccinating somebody if they already have an antibody? Nobody talks about that. And so that's the question I have, and that's why I've joined this coalition. Because I'm not so sure that the Betty Crocker cookbook works for everybody. Okay? That's why we're physicians. Because we've studied science. And we've all taken immunology classes from medical school to residency. So even though I have to shake the cobwebs out of my head every so often because I've been doing cancer medicine for 25 years, I just feel that, there are questions that I have that haven't been answered.
Let me start off by saying I am not a lawyer, and anything that I state here tonight is not legal advice. That's gotta do that, So what I'm going to present to you is just my research and just passing on education and information to you. So from a religious standpoint, if you did not get a piece of paper, or I've got a few up here, but back there on the table I put some stuff on how to write your own exemption. and then some of the education stuff that you need to know. You need to understand that from a religious standpoint, you are able to get an exemption for anything that you are that you hold as a religious belief or even personal conviction. So that is guaranteed to us, of course, by the Constitution of the United States and then also the Ohio Constitution. And there is a line in that, if you look at the paper, the top paragraph on the one side, it says, but it says this in the middle of it, says, nor shall any interference with the rights of conscience be permitted. So that's all along the lines with your religious beliefs, even beliefs of conscience, anything that goes against your conscience or your personal conviction, that you can get a religious exemption. Now, where the authority outside of the constitutions come with that is the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and that's under Title VII. Now, I have a copy of that. It's only a few pages long if you print it out, but there is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, that actually rules on violation and actually will give guidance to the courts on how to properly navigate the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. So that was just